Hello, hello, hello. Come on in. I'll let everybody come in before we start. This is going to be an interesting, maybe touchy subject for a few. Not quite sure yet. But I'm quite sure it's going to garner a lot of attention, whether you like what I have to say or not. So today we'll be drinking water and we'll be minding other people's business because, and I'm just doing this off the top of my head. I was going to actually sit down and break it down and have all these different people's opinions and how I agreed or disagreed with the opinion. I was going to speak about a whole lot. However, I haven't had the time to actually sit down, dig in, and get my research. Now, I haven't watched all of the documentary, some of it twice, pieces of it twice, and there's a lot that I disagree with. I guess I want to go against the public per se. I'm not sitting here uh gonna sit here and make a riff, but I actually disagree with what a lot of people have to say. There's a lot of people who think that Top Model was disrespectful. Top Model was exploitative. People think that it should have been called out long time ago. And most of these people who are feeling this way are the new 20-year-old generation, the Gen Zs or whatnot. And the reason for that is because they simply don't know better. Okay. Let's just say we're gonna start this off with the fact that everything that everybody's talking about and everything that everybody is hating Tyra for or body shaming and this in which Tyra was not body. Tyra don't do that. Um, Tyra created a wave, a big wave, and when you create waves, they tend to go, they come back at you. And now this wave has come back, but Tyra opened the door for a lot of people. And what people don't understand is in that industry, because I was in it briefly at a pretty young age. That's how it goes. They will tell you to your face they don't like you and why. And she was literally giving them the real. She was giving America the real of how the modeling and entertainment industry is operated in of a whole. And oh, they made the big girls feel bad. Their big girls wouldn't even get in the industry as easy as they did if it was not for Tyra Banks. Them having those girls on set and not having clothes that fit them is reality. Okay, they want you stick skinny if you're a woman, tall because they don't care really anything about you. You are a walking hanger, and so when some of those models break out and become stars and household names and things of that nature, the supermodels, quote unquote, those are somewhat of flukes. Okay, models work every day to this day. And I'm not talking about Instagram models. I'm talking about real models with contracts. Okay, I had a modeling contract before. It's not something that you take, hey, come on in, how are you? It's not something that you take lightly because it's something that's not easy to ascertain. Okay. um They will tell you what they do like about you, what they don't like about you, what they want to change about you, what they want to fix. The model makeover, all of that is real. Okay. I remember I went against my agency because I didn't want to cut my hair. And at that time, like now everybody has hair, right? Cool. At the time, this was not easy to market. Okay, I'm just being honest with you. It's not easy to market. Also, the agency that I was with, it wasn't a good agency. It was actually local here in Cleveland and well, Akron at the time. And truth be told, that was like a stepping stone into the real deal. It was more of a charm school, more or less, and that's what I got out of it. You know, I was taught how to hit marks, and things of that nature, how to pivot, different angles, and stance, how to stand when you hit your mark, remembering lines, things of that nature. And then I was supposed to enter into the IMTA, the International Model and Talent Agency association, whatever it was. I can't remember. And I'm mad that I actually signed. They had me sign a piece of paper stating that they get they get all rights to discovering me. So like if I was to ever do a movie or something like that, and the career takes off, they get the right to say that they picked me out of, I guess, out of the wild. I don't know. Um, I I do regret that. I don't regret the experience. I learned a lot. I don't regret. Yeah, I don't regret it. You know, it's a part of my history. It's who I am. However, they initially, because I told them, I said I had fears of, like, I used to be really skinny. I had fears of being too thin in the industry, and then now I really would take that. I'd probably do something, anything, to take that little frail body back. But yeah, they told me, "Yeah, oh yeah, we're gonna have you do this and do that, and you're gonna model here. You're gonna go and do ads here, do this and do that." And then when I went into the IMTA, they didn't want me to enter in as a model because that was more of a commercial market. And then they told me I gained 20 pounds in muscle, and you know you're not getting 20 pounds of muscle in 2 weeks. It's just not gonna happen. Or two, I can't. I think it might have been 2 months, 2 months, until the competition or whatever, because it is a competition. You go out, they have bigger scouts and movie directors, TV directors, and producers and stuff like that. And you basically they get all these young people, fresh meat, and they put them in this room, and you just audition. You audition, you audition, you audition, and it's an opportunity to get yourself in front of a huge market. At the time, I got this close to going, and I had to pull out because of health reasons. And my grandmother just went into this huge panic because they had mentions of me going overseas, and she was like, because if I was to actually do the modeling, it would be more like an editorial situation. That's where they were trying to put me on due to the look that they give you. You have a look. So she threw out this big panic, and my mom just was like, okay, just forget it. We'll do something else. So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way for a while, and then I had to just like take my mind off it and move on. So going back to Tyra Banks, she literally gave these girls an opportunity that they would never get. Okay, they would never get. And the complaints with Tyra Banks is kind of like a 40-60 split. Okay, so you get 40% against, 60 with. Because there are some contestants who thanked Tyra. Tiffany even thanked her. There's somebody can look it up. She was on a TV show, and she went on to say, "Well, you know what? She believed in me, and she wasn't that hard." Somebody got in that girl ear and told her like, "No, that was wrong." Now, and I'm not sitting up here saying that her experience was not to be taken seriously, because there were things that were said by one of the Jays that Tyra said that they edited out. You know, some pretty hefty things like, "Well, now you can go back home and sleep on the mattress on sleep." Whew. They tender ain't the word. They there's a lot of rumors going on, and some things were cleared up, some things were not. So you got all these people coming down on this one person because she's the face of it all, right? Now, I'm not saying she's an angel. I'm sorry, one second. I'm hungry. I can't wait to go home and make me some ruby trout, some potatoes, and stuff like that. I'm not saying that she's a an angel, but I will say that she's gonna take the brunt of everything because she was the face of it. You have And she was telling the truth when she says there are higher ups, bosses have bosses. She's absolutely right. People at the network, the bigger the bag you carry, the more power you have. Okay. People think that because she was such a huge star that she had this huge influence. She does not. She does not. She does not have the power to go up with these people who've been doing this, and it's been passed down to them, via nepotism. Okay, this is just kind of how it goes. She doesn't have the power to go up against these people and tell them. I mean, she did get into an argument that I mean, Kim, like they were talking about how she got into an argument with one of the big network tops, um, possibly the owner of UPN, whatnot, because she got in via the president. So sorry, I don't want my blood sugar to drop. I'm already feeling tired. So sorry. And I didn't get a chance to take notes and things like that nature. But one second, we'll do it in live time. Mm. Do 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 do. Yeah, that sounds fun. Those are unsympathetic characters. They are vapid. And that stayed with me and followed me for a very, very long time. And then to you, UPN was the last. Gonna make this ball cooler than ever. We'd go to UPN. I can guarantee you, UPN was the last stop on the pitching train. By far, happened to my app? Dead last place. We need to find a hit, or there probably won't be a UPN. When Tyra first came in, I thought, okay, vanity pitch. Let's hear what she has to say and, move on. I was so nervous because that was the last one. That was it. So I stood up and I started walking like Miss J, talking like Miss J. You need to be able to slinky ink down the runway. If you can't slinky ink, you mean let's take the stage. Acting like different characters and we're gonna do it together, okay? I just saw her face went from to. And listen, okay, and I want y'all to get into the gist of all of this, okay? The body positivity and how all these Gen Zs be talking about what you can't say. All of this is stemming from Tyra Banks, okay? Lizzo wouldn't be up there with her whistle saxophone laying like a butterball turkey and all down if it wasn't for Tyra Banks. I mean, it just would not be because somebody would have told her, "Oh, you're too big because you can't do this and you can't do that." And then what did Lizzo do besides make half of America feel good about themselves? Okay, so that's stemming from what Tyra did. So let's take a step back before everybody starts to throw daggers at this lady because the sad thing about it is what I don't like is people jump on bandwagons, and I'm not one for bandwagons. I despise them. And when you just jump on what somebody else is saying and you're not doing your own research, that's on you. That's on you. And it has nothing to do with well, no, it had a lot to do with that. I ain't gonna work, I ain't gonna say that. We're just gonna go with people have nothing better to do. than to jump on a wave that she created that is now coming back on her. And you don't know what she had to experience. Now, she's obviously a lady that is hungry, very driven, and career oriented. You do not know how many people this woman has to take care of. You don't know who in her family is ill. Like they kept saying, "Oh, she should have went to go see Miss J." Okay, now I'm gonna break it down to you like this: if you had to choose between your mom or your brother, who might be sick or ill, or your child and a coworker, who you going to go see? Oh wait, who are you going to go see? You're not gonna. You're not. I'm sorry. Now she did call him. So I said I was gonna say she should have called, but she did. And Nigel, he's on the he was playing devil's advocate and crap. He just saw that he lost his job because you was there on set when that girl was getting groped, and he was rubbing his hand up and down her thigh, grabbing her hip, and he like, oh, you just got to be professional through it. I don't know how many cameramen, I don't know how many male producers were on set. I don't know. She felt unsafe, and they told her because the camera is rolling, you should be okay. So because this man is about to molest me live and on five, I should be feeling safe because someone's documenting it. Not on my watch. It's not supposed to happen. I don't understand why people think that that's okay. Why would you think it's okay for somebody to be crying while she's doing her job? Okay, she crying while she's doing her job because she don't feel safe. So what is she supposed to? I mean, what do you do in that moment? She did what all black women did from the dawn of time. You suck it up, you move on, you tuck it away, and you review it later. And it obviously still bothers her. You can see it when she talks about it. And she too wanted to blame that on Tyra, but Tyra had and you come on. Now you know doggone well Tyra had to deal with some sexual assault or something that just how she handled, and I don't know what episode that was on. This is why you're supposed to do your homework. Okay. I don't be doing homework and taking notes. But this is why you're supposed to do that because that right there, I guarantee that might be on like episode two or something. Let's skip around. Let's skip around. Let's skip around and find out where what episode. Okay, let me drag it through. They talk about Danny and Joni's teeth. They were traumatized. It- Cardi B wouldn't have said nothing. If you would have pulled her teeth out, moving left and right, and she was like, "Oh, well, there's still dental work that I need done to this day." Well, why didn't you go get your dental work done? You could have went and got your dental work done. Okay, so here's her being molested live on five. This is ridiculous. That was really hard to watch, even back then. Now that and see, here's my problem with all of this too. All of a sudden, everyone's jumping on this bandwagon and saying that this was wrong, and you shouldn't have did this, and she shouldn't have said that. Ankles were crossed and popcorn was popping. We were enjoying this TV. It was good TV. Now you have other things like the real world, while they out there flashing they tops and stuff for a brownie, eating worm. Like, come on. Ain't nobody saying nothing about Fear Factor. Now, what's that about? That might have something to do with the bull crap over there with Todd and Carmen. Because I'm not understanding where it's coming from.
I
Yeah,
think there's just a
she's
level of
still
responsibility
hurt.
to the viewer, knowing that there are so many young women watching this show. There's an
Oh, they talking about her
insensitivity
weight. I
for
want to go to where the
you know,
man was just rubbing up and down, and that was disgusting.
is very aggressively hitting
You have it.
on me. Martini is a very
And
interesting
this man looks like a predator. I mean, he looked like he do this for a living.
It was very awkward. He wants a massage from
He asking, and then see, okay, and pause that one. We gonna grab that. Why your friends laughing and playing into her, and she's obviously uncomfortable. And I remember when this was going down, and she thought she had a friend. Brittany was her friend, and she didn't take her up on. Didn't have her back. She didn't have her back. So at that moment, now you feel like, okay, I ain't got no friends. Tyra, not even. I think what hurt her the most is she thought Tyra would have blown it out of proportion and went and got that man and made him apologize. I think that's what she was looking for. And at that time, as a contestant, I'm quite sure that she was just trying to, play it cool and go along with the show. And also, you know what? Why ain't nobody talking about why the girl went from a big ass assume bow to this long up down? It was nice. I want to know why that happened. No one speaks about it. I guess that didn't make the front page. Obviously, why we know why. However, is still one of my curiosity things. But they're laughing, so he want to give you a massage. He want to give you a massage. So now she ain't even got in the outfit yet. They putting rollers in the girl head, and she know that this man is about to try one. Okay, we don't know what level of intuition these contestants have. We don't know. She's very intuitive. You can just tell based off of how she sits and her demeanor. And I felt she was one of my favorites. I loved her intelligence. I loved all of that about her. I love me a pretty cute thing. I got a brain on them. She she and we also don't know what she endured prior to this experience. Okay, so and this is why they tell you not to meet your heroes because they disappoint you in ways that you wouldn't fathom. And I want you to also understand the fact that Tyra was doing a lot of these shoots. This is around the time when they started doing 2 seasons per year, and the door was open, and she had to run through, and she knew that she had to do it because there were other people that needed her to hold that door open. Meanwhile, she's dealing with IBS. IBS is not a comfortable situation. Okay. She talked about how she had to model through it and everything, and how she's always and everybody know when that gas get up in that body and start to rumbling and get in a corner you don't want it in, you don't want to talk to nobody, okay? But the good Lord upstairs. But she had to push through that because, like I said, you don't know who this woman had to take care of. You don't know what her personal goals were. What she told, what did she tell that little girl in the mirror when she was a little kid? What did she do? What did she do? What did she do? What did she do when she looked at that mirror and said, "We're gonna be something one day. We're gonna open doors. We're gonna change the world." And I know exactly how that feels. So it's not something that it does not feel good. Okay, when you can't meet the quota. So, like I said, I'm not condoning all of what Tyra Banks did, and I still look up to her because she is an icon. She's a mogul. Let me tell you something. Being a person of color, especially somebody who is of African descent, and I quote take that because there's a lot of lies that went on with the tales that they told us in school. Being a young black girl from Inglewood, California, she took herself off the list of being a statistic to being an icon. And when you negate that and ignore it, there's a problem there. There's, there's just a problem. You have, as a person of color, this is why I cannot stand when people tear down their own kind. You have a duty as a person of color to acknowledge that kind of accomplishment. It's not easy. She literally forced her way into the modeling world, got in there, started dominating, got big, too big for her britches, as some people might say. And then they told her, "Oh, you're too fat. You're too fat." You go back and look at Tyra Banks in the early '90s. Not now. She started as a teenager because you can get into this industry pretty early. She started as a child, and at 19, especially back then, because they weren't pumping us with God knows what they pumping us. I don't know. We don't know what's in the food and the water nowadays. We just don't know. We just and you got to eat and you got to drink to got to survive. Women didn't develop that fast back then. Okay, so she had from 15 to 20 where she dominated the European uh, market, basically. Pardon me. Like I said, today we're going to be drinking water and minding other people's business. Join in. she dominated the European market to the point where Naomi kind of felt some kind of way because, like I said, we're not supposed to be great. Let's just be honest with this. Let's just be honest tonight. Let's just be honest. It's February. We're gonna be honest. We're not supposed to be great. And when you have a model, because each generation has their black model, or there's usually like two, and only one can be on top. Okay, you want to be. So when she came in, Naomi was on top, and she was, oh, I want to meet her. Oh, da da da. And Naomi gave her the code. Like, now she didn't do that because, oh, I can't stand this heifer. No, it's because she know that this girl is coming for her job, and you don't make goody goody with somebody that's gonna come for your job. And I don't care. And this goes for Indian. So you know, I'm in the beauty industry, and I had a very very hard time as a man coming into the industry. I knew nothing about hair. I knew nothing, and I wanted to shadow people. I wanted to learn, and I catch on fast. And when they started to see me catching on quick, and it's like, okay, well, last week he trash, and now he better than me. That rubbed people the wrong way, and now they take umbrage, and they're scared, and they pull back on love and help and things of that nature. I literally I make people love me when I want them to make them love me. So this one lady, I'm not going to mention her name. People can figure it out in the city, but I was working in a large, prominent salon at the time, and I admired her shortcuts and her styles and what she did with short hair because it's not something that it's anybody can blow hair out and curl it and it'll look halfway decent if the cut's right. If the cut is right, she did extremely well with short hair. She can easily she can rival some people in the short hair in Avenue here in Cleveland, Ohio. And I wanted to shadow her because I thought she did amazing. Also, oh no, I can't tell you that because that would give away of who she is. But I wanted to shadow her, and she was like, "I don't really like people up on me like that. I don't really want people, I don't like people standing around me like that." And she had every right to feel that way because she didn't know me beef from Bullfrog, and she was protecting herself. And you got to think when you're on the nadir of your career, you, you didn't you don't have time for Todd and Carmen's crap. Okay, you didn't been there, done that, seen it all. So she was like ignoring me, and so I said, okay, I respected that. I was okay, point cut the corner of the eye. We gonna watch you anyway, because we gonna get what we need to make ourselves where we need to be as well. And I utilized reflections to get my education when I needed to do so. I had a lot of hunger and a lot of drive when I started, and there was nothing that was going to stop me from getting where I needed to go. And when you have drive and determination like that, it will catapult you. And if you follow and buckle down on it, you will get to where you're going. And this is the same path that Tyra was on and is currently still on because for her to be a model over 30 years ago and still be a household name, like she's iconic. Like who else did what she did? Exactly. So I basically watched her through the mirrors and all kinds of reflections. Like, you're in the salon, you have to have mirrors. And I will watch her through the mirrors. It was a big, huge salon, like 24, like 20 stylists, four barbers, three nail techs. It was a large salon. So I would watch her, and it was like she had it. It was a beautiful salon. She had and that's another thing. The lady who owned the salon, she is a businesswoman. I'm quite sure. Anyway, so we got two seats, two rows of stations on each side of this line. In the center was the barbers and the dryers and the front desk and stuff like that. The lobby is over there. So I would literally watch her through my mirror, her own mirror, and the mirror to like a couple mirrors like on the other side of the salon. I would just watch how she would angle things and cut. And I mean, I thought she did good work. And I mean, we're cool now and everything like that. Like it didn't turn into anything bad. It's just that initially she didn't know me, and I know I can rub people the wrong way unintentionally. I know sometimes I can come off uh, weird, harsh, cold, domineering. I have a heavy presence. These are things that I had to learn along the way. Nobody tells you this is who you are or anything like that. You just, well, some people will tell you who you are. Some people will tell you. I remember when I got to hair school, one of my friends in hair school, she was the like first person to tell me like you have a press. People know when you're here, when you're not here, and I didn't know that. I always grew up wondering why people were staring at me. I always grew up like I garner a lot of attention, even with my head down and my eyes not making any contact. People still remember me, and I struggle with that because I'm heavily introverted, and so all that being said, I've rubbed some elbows the wrong way over the time. So you can get reputations and things of that nature. And I got reputations for stuff I didn't even do. But anyway, going back, and I don't even remember some of the stuff I was talking about that leads me back to Tyra Banks. But to initiate how I handled that salon or whatever, the friend in hair school said, you have a presence. People know when you're not here, when you're missing, people ask where you are. I didn't know that people, I didn't know. Sometimes you don't know what you possess, but you do learn over time. And so, going back to Tyra Banks, she's coming in the industry. Naomi gives her the cold shoulder or the egg, and it made her feel small. Okay, you don't know what that might have did up here to make her say, "Oh, I'm gonna make them not forget." And she literally says in the first episode, "All you have is a magazine. I got a TV show, and I'm gonna let it be known what beauty is." You can't put a bad light in my mind about Tyra Banks. And I guarantee you, with all of the things that she has been struggling with, I know that she probably has some. I don't want to say mental health issues or anything, but there's definitely some stress on her situation. There's a lady I thought, oh, let me see if I can see what she said. I can guarantee you, she said something about this documentary on Instagram. Instagram. ¿Por qué? ¿Dónde? ¿Dónde? Oh, aquí. Oh, shit, what's her name on here?
Then my son.
Wait, what is her name? What is? We're getting sidetracked. Here, I do. Okay, what is her name? Jay. I don't know nobody missing her name in these streets. I don't know her name. But anyway, she's on YouTube. She does she reads people's energy through photographs and body language and stuff like that. What is her name? Oh, I can just go to my who I follow. Okay, wait, go to my page, go to my following, and I'm gonna see if I can find her real quick. Like this, like this. Hey, eat it on up, 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 hey, eat it on up, eat it on up. Hey, person I was just talking about. Oh man, why don't I know her name? Baby, 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 when I saw you, really, really want to catch fire. This is such a waste of time. I hate waste of time. So, mm, You would think it would go off of like when you started following people because I just started watching following her. Um, okay, wait, let's just type in energy coach or see if that's what it comes up. I'm so sorry, y'all. This is so gauche of me to not be prepared, but I have a lot going on, and how come they don't have where you can type it in? You used to be able to type in. Mm, is she on YouTube? I can go maybe the people I subscribe to on YouTube. I really wish I knew her name. I really do. You know what? We'll go to search and we'll type in top model documentary. And I'm quite sure she has a video or something. Ooh, too much on here. Too. Today's day. Releases. And she also mentioned that too. Like she literally had to cast people that she knew that America would have said you have to meet people where they are. It's basically in every and I think Tara studied psychology. I think she studied psychology when she was after she took up business at Harvard. Man, gee, just bring it to me. Come on, bring it to me. Bring it to me now. Where is she? Where are you? Oh, is she a life coach? Oh, spiritual coach, probably spiritual coach. Can you put down like what you like? This needs to be redone. They need to redo their navigation system on Instagram because I should be able to pop this right up. Is this her? No. And we go back. I'm so sorry. I really truly am. I just had so much going on. We might have to just come back to her. And I wish you put it in the chat. Like, what is something that we should go over? Because I wanted to come here and just be honest. Like anything that she said, like she had no business saying you gonna go home and sleep, and we still don't have proof of that. Okay, but hearsay. You're gonna go home and you're gonna sleep on that mattress with your child and go from there. Like that was that because at first I was like, why is she apologizing? I was like, because to me, I would not have apologized because I think she basically got emotional because I think Tiffany was supposed to win cycle 4. I think sometimes they know who they want right off the bat and they kind of like coach them in the right way. Because if you go back, love Eva. Eva was my favorite from back then. And another thing, you don't hear Eva and Yaya speaking bad about Top Model because they knew that that was a stepping stone, a platform for them to go on and do greater things. I know Danny has said things like, but at least she owned up to it. It's not hard. It's not easy for people like that to own up to their mistakes and say things like, I was wrong. Like I said, we don't know what Tyra's been through. Like she said, you don't know what the hell I've been through to get where I am today. Be quiet, Tiffany. Be quiet. Stop it. Be quiet. I have never in my life yelled at a girl like this. When my mom yells at me like this is because she loves me. And you sit there, you popping in your eyes and you rolling it because you heard it all before. But you don't know what I've been through, what the hell I had to do to get to where I am. When you sit there and you pop off and do everything like that, it's because your mama got her lights cut off for you to get buy a swimming suit. We were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you? When you go home at night, you take some responsibility for yourself. I love it. I used to know a heart for heart. Everybody was like agape. Not me. I enjoyed all of it. What is this lady's name? Shakarna. That. But anyway, you don't hear Yaya. You don't hear Eva saying anything bad, but you knew that they were trying to coach Eva into it because one, Tyra was trying. She had her, and Yaya wasn't that tall either. They were pretty close in height. She had her mindset on breaking barriers. So now we're gonna have you look at this little black girl from LA, similar background, and we're gonna have you appreciate her beauty. And she's tiny. Well, she's still gonna. Eva could. Eva models her tail off. Her walk immaculate, signature on top of that. Print work immaculate. And that's another thing when we're talking about walk. So they basically were trying to act like Jay Alexander, Tyra owes him her career because he taught her how to walk. Tyra Banks was not famous for her walk. Okay, that's a Naomi Campbell type situation. Tyra Banks is a print model. Okay, she's really good at taking photographs. Yeah, she did the Victoria's Secret situation, the walk, and she was an angel and all that. But Tyra's bread and butter is her print work. She understands her angles. She understands marketing, and this right here. If it was not for her, people would not be sitting up there smizing and all that. And half of the Instagram models on the internet, you wouldn't have a job because you learned everything from top model to go to bed. I'm not having this conversation with y'all. Y'all not ready for the real conversation. That's why everybody dislike it and leaving and all that. I don't care. Jump on somebody else's bandwagon, but over here we talk about the truth. There's no depth I won't swim down to. Okay, I'm just be honest with you. I don't. It doesn't bother me to be, on the intense side. It doesn't bother me to go against the grain. It does not bother me to be true to myself. It does not bother me for. I'm unbothered. On the subject, I'm unbothered in general. I can't find this heifer. Cause somebody, Alexa, can you play Mariah Carey? Oh, I don't have one of those. Click my own shit. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, so there go my Disney account. Here go this
Hard to
heifer.
believe it's been 20 years since the first America's Next Top Model.
Is
It
this
really
free
changed things back
documentary?
then. Didn't have any children back then. It was a very different world on television. There was no social media.
And didn't nobody? Okay, let's pause this. Didn't nobody even know who he was prior to Top Model? Okay, they went and found them a photographer. We want. They literally said what they wanted because this is what we do in this industry. I want a white man that's fine, and I want him straight. And the Jays took umbrage, and it's like, what are you? Why are you? Listen, we want eye candy. The masculine, we're gonna say masculine and feminine Jay. Masculine Jay was cute, had a nice body and everything, but girls couldn't see themselves with him because okay, and it is what it is. Women want to lust too. It ain't just men that like to lust. That's something of the carnal situation. That's a human thing.
There you have it.
And
It's hard to believe it's been
I wonder
20
why they
years.
ain't had Janice come back because Janice was entertaining. She should have been picked for the documentary.
Changed reality television.
It did.
It was the first of its kind. Changed to the diversity.
Janice and got herself too stuffed. I mean, she listen. Hold on, let's go back.
One of the things that I particularly love.
This is what happened when you try to be messy.
It's the first of its kind. Changed to the diversity after about 5 seasons, which I really pushed.
I feel bad for people in the modeling industry because it's hard for them to let go. It's hard because it's like you were. famous for being beautiful. You were famous for your swag and everything. And when it starts to fade, this is why I tell people all the time when they talk about how cute they are. I said, listen, he'll take it away. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. He'll take it away. Stop down and get your ego on. Oh, and I also want to commend Eva for that interview. They tried to shake her up, and she wouldn't let them shake her up. No, 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 no. You're not gonna do it. You're not gonna put words in my mouth. You're not gonna do any of that. And I feel so bad because now Eva's gonna get some of this too because it's like, oh, but Tyra only picked her because she was light skinned and had green eyes. That no, no, no. Now you know doggone well that just that Eva had the it factor. Like it was like you could see, you could tell she was with or without the show, she was going places. And hands down, she may be, if she's not the, she's one of the most successful models from the show. I think there might be like two Caucasian models who took off on the European side and did haute couture, high fashion. Okay, amen. And they may have been like the most successful models. However, Eva the Diva, okay, we booking TV shows. We're booking. What is he saying?
Part two. Back in my notes. Now I might be a little bit disappointed to her, right? But she still is one of my girls. She just in the hot seat right now. However, she's not gonna be in the hot seat alone because Kim Jong Un. Yeah,
This is what I'm
you
saying.
was a producer, so we ain't
She
lying
took the
about
she took the brunt
your
of it.
ass because you was just as responsible as everybody else because you sat up there and as we talked about this situation, there was no remorse. You didn't seem like you cared. You was just well, that's just reality TV. Y'all had no business. Y'all that whole thing with Shandy. Look him, John on. Your ass is grass.
To touch on
Y'all
that.
ain't loud enough about the matchmaker because he said his
Now, we spoke on Kenya's sexual assault, and I take this very seriously, by the way. The situation with Shandy, to me, for her to not remember the details, it's like, it's one thing to be sexually assaulted and you're cognizant of everything that's going on and you can remember, and that will haunt you to no ends, but to not remember it fully, I feel for her. And e- even Tyra had to say, like, I failed her on that end. But you have to understand, like I said, she was not there. She definitely was. She had nothing to do with anything like that. She didn't have anything to do with their day to day situation. They was like, well, Tyra, she brought up that it wasn't a coincidence. She brought up the situation about cheating. No, it wasn't. But nobody told her that this woman was raped or anything like that. I mean, for I want to know why the other contestants didn't have anything to say. I want to know why, like I said, same situation with Kenya, okay? You have all these people out here, you got producers, you got cameramen, you got other contestants, you're all watching. Why didn't any of the other girls, you see this girl is drunk, right? She got intoxicated. And you see that she getting frisky with the guy in the hot tub. But when she got to the point where she's stumbling over stuff, it's time for the boys to go home. It's time for them to go home. And the fact that they let that girl go off somewhere private with this man, for her to be like, I remember this, but I don't really remember, and I could feel him on me and everything like that. And and for her to she already felt bad because she first and foremost when her boyfriend got on the phone and she said I did something bad and he called her stupid, you know what? She was hurt. She should have let him go at that point because he showed his true colors. And you on here talking about some, yeah, that, he sound like he probably was jealous. He probably wanted some. That's what it sounded like to me. Let him be honest with you. And for her to be walking down the street and people call her a whore and to her face and things of that nature, that's not cool. and it wasn't aired that she was assaulted for obvious reasons, and things like that were brushed under the rug for so long, so long, so long. And I will tell you, when somebody assaults you in that nature, it never leaves. It will never leave the cerebrum. You will always feel tainted. You won't be able to sometimes you can't even look at yourself. So I definitely feel for her, and I don't think they gave her the right justice. I think that for them to know what happened and no one called the police and nobody, and here's another thing. So this is why you don't get comfortable in situations like that. Now you're across seas somewhere, and you don't know the laws or anything over there. You don't know what the rules are when you're out of your jurisdiction. Okay. Here, we know what we can do. We know who we can call. We know. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Shandy. That I dislike wholeheartedly, and I do feel like Tara maybe should have used her influence to push the matter. But like I said, you have all these other people watching it go down in real time live on five, and no one says anything about it. Nobody says like, "Oh, maybe Shannon, you should go come over here with me, or maybe you should go lay down." And then guys, it's time to go home. You had grown men sitting in there watching this. Talking about, I'm sorry, we had to record it. You were sorry that you had to record a private conversation, but you weren't sorry that you had to go in that bathroom, because they say technically when there's more than one person in the restroom, that's why there were clips. I remember long even when it was live of when the girls would share showers and stuff like that, and the cameraman would be in there. That's some creep nature, and I don't agree with it at all. You weren't sorry when you were in there recording this man all on this girl in the shower. You weren't sorry when you recorded wherever the assault took place. You weren't sorry then, because as a man you have a duty to protect women. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you're not a crook, a criminal, if you're not a scumbag thine self, where's your instinct? Where is it? Where's your instinct to sit here and allow somebody to assault somebody like that is ridiculous. It truly is. And I don't stand for it, not one bit. Not at all. That's not something I'm down with. Why why that even became a thing is beyond me, because it wouldn't have went past the hot tub if I was there. I don't care what the check was or who the boss was, and this is why I said, and Tara kept saying there are no golden cows or whatever she was the term was. And that's another thing too. When she had to let them go, I guarantee y'all don't know how it probably made her feel that they didn't believe her, that it was not up to her for them to get fired. So for them to be going on a campaign, now you on Oprah, now you on Jesse and Sally, Jesse Raphael and Maury and Jerry Springer, and telling everybody who would listen, oh, she fired me and those weren't good work conditions. Y'all didn't do anything when that girl was getting tossed around side to side and played with her hidden parts. You where what did you say? What did you say when Kenya said I'm not? She stopped the shoot. She had to tell. You should never even had. She shouldn't have to stop to shoot herself. Y'all see that man trying to put his little fingers up in her to split her skirt, and you can see her like pushing his hand away. And they all failed those girls on that matter, and I don't agree with any of that wholeheartedly. It's something that is against me, my brand, everything, down to the core of my soul. I do not like sexual assault. I don't like misogyny. I don't like men mistreating women. I feel like you already have the upper hand. You don't go there. You just don't. And so that being said, I had nothing to do with it, but I do want to apologize, because I feel like as a male figure on this plane, and those gentlemen didn't step up to acknowledge what was wrong, nor did they put themselves between she and he. on both accounts, and that's just 2 stories. We don't know what else happened. We don't know if there are more allegations to come because time reveals all. So for that, I apologize as a male that those guys did nothing. And there was even a point where after she stopped the shoot and she said, "I'm uncomfortable," that Jay said, "Okay, can we give the illusion of caressing without actually touching the ladies?" And what I also don't like was, like I said, going back to the whole situation that her friend Brittany was like, "Well, he didn't. He was. I think you were." She said it to that man's face. First off, why did you even allow those models to come back home with him? She stopped the shoot, crying, and they get to come back to the house. Whose idea was that? Okay, that's what I have a problem with. I have a problem with the other girls not having her back, especially Brittany, because you were supposed to be. They were. Oh, we go on the beach. We get to show up fashionably late. We all know who sticks together when it counts, right? We all know that one. So I want to go back to that moment when she's at the house and she said you were really crossing the line. Not only were you crossing the line, but all you had between you and I was a little flap of fabric and there was liftoff. You were sporting some density for lack of mm, limitations. You were sporting some density down there, and she was able to like, we okay, because I'd have been like, "Man, where you going with that?" And Tara was like, "Oh, you should have used your girlish prowess to say, yeah, you better back up, but keep it." That's because that's what she had to do. That's what she had to suffer through in the '90s. You think that might try to push up on her? You crazy if you think that nobody just because she became big and the icon and everything. And that goes for all the black women in Hollywood and women in general. You think they ain't have to deal with misogyny and some man thinking he can do it just because he wants to and push up? But back then, that's how they handled it. Now, sexual assault. Back then, it was like I even remember having a conversation here in the salon. They were like, "Oh, well, when the boys would run past and pop you on the butt," but now that's sexual assault, as it should have been. That's sexual battery. To be honest with you and exact, you have no right to touch anyone because you're attracted to them. And this is why, because a lot of men go, "Oh, women, oh, they're so foul. We can't help the size of our penis." Da, 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 da." This is why women take advantage because you utilize what you have access to. Same reason why the N word is tossed around and it's a nasty word and it shouldn't be used. It's a power play. Okay. Women will belittle a man sexually because they have been taken advantage of for eons, centuries, decades, years. Okay. And that's something that sits in your soul and it burns deep into your very body, and you will pass that on to the next generation. A woman is born with all of her eggs. So when your grandmother was pregnant with your mom, you were there. And all those feelings she had growing up and everything that your grandmother passed down, you got to think your mom was the parasite to your grandmother. She fed off of her. So when you're feeding off of someone who has been through some things, it's in you already, and you have no reason why. I don't know why at my core I don't like misogyny. I know a couple times I said things like in my past life I must have been a woman and I had it rough. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Some of that is things that a lot of times scientists think that we have it down. There's parts of the world we have not even encountered yet. With every bit of technology that we have, there's parts of the world we still know nothing of. And there are things of the spirit we know nothing of, things that we are not privileged to know. it is guaranteed that that is passed down. So Tyra was doing the best that she could at the moment when she said, "This is how you back somebody off of you on set." And they were throwing this conversation. It was general. It was second nature because this is how you know this goes on. When I was doing it, I never took off or anything like that, so I never really got a lot of backlash that way. But I have had men push up on me several times growing up. Uh, I remember this is like just one of the counts around like 19. This guy kept harassing me, and I was like, I don't know how many times you can say no, you can say no, you can say no, you can push up, you can be, but he kept, and I was only like 19. He had to be like 28 or something like that, easily, easily. Just because you like something don't mean you can have it. Okay, I'm just put it like that. And Bartini, Bellini, whatever the man name is, he had the eyes. We know what that look is. Anybody who's experienced what she experienced, you know what that look is. You do. And when there's nobody around that agrees with you on what you're seeing, especially people who want to call themselves your friend, not a good feeling. Not one at all. And so like I feel for them. And when you go through something like that, it's gonna make you negate everything else that you experienced on that. Now, what I want to say, like these ladies that are bashing Tyra, it's like no, but you wouldn't even have a voice without Tyra. Like she has a modeling school. Yeah, I think it's online. Kenya, I'm speaking of Kenya at the moment. I follow her on Instagram, and even when they were talking about her weight, she basically was saying like, yeah, well, they were giving us McDonald's. If we didn't have anything to eat, of course you're gonna gain weight, especially when you're um predestined to gain weight. She has an apple shape, but because she is so small, you don't see that. If she was to gain weight in the future or what have you, she's going to be big in the middle. She's not going to be pear shaped. She doesn't have hips or anything like that. She's straight up. She's actually perfect for the modeling world. That's exactly what they want. You know what I mean? And she can do all kinds of athletic ads and things of that nature. But she took her top model experience, turned it into something lucrative, and this is why I disagree with her, going against Tarbers because nobody, and same thing with all the other contestants and winners and what have you. There was no social media then, there is now. And with all these people becoming famous over seemingly overnight, just being a social media person, it's like you already had that one up. All you had to do was get an Instagram and you would have been able to be an ambassador. You'd have been able to just sell your own product. You had a one up just based off of you being on that show. So for you to sit here and act like it was the worst thing that ever happened to you and you felt like they, let you down, you may have. Yeah, at the same time, you still have to acknowledge the fact that it gave you the soapbox that you now stand on. Because prior to that, you didn't have it. Now, if you wanted to say, say you never got on the show and you wanted an audience, you would have had to wait to 2013, 14, whatever Instagram came out. And even back then, it was like very new. Nobody really knew exactly what it was or what it would eventually become. You would have had to fight and do it that all these singers that are famous now because of social media. You know how hard it is to get a record deal. And now we're moving into an era where a record deal is not even necessary anymore if you have certain connections, if you are able to purchase your own material. Some people, you know, they come from a background where they have money, okay? All you need is equipment and you can be a singer now. All you need is equipment and you can now be a model. All you need is equipment and now you're an actor because you have this platform. They had a one up and they chose to complain about it. Like you were automatically, oh, and I can't model because people know me as a model, and I'm crying because I was never able to. Okay, well now you can segue into being an exposed person. You can be an actor. There are options, and Tyra did feel bad because this is not what she set out to do. Like I said, she created a huge wave that went out and returned all on her. Tsunami crashing down. And like I said, you don't know what she had to go through. Who moves to Australia? Where all the big flying bugs and venomous this and poisonous that? Who says I'm gonna leave sunny California and go to Australia? You don't know what she had to endure. You don't know what's going on in that lady's life or what how she got blackballed after the show because of how hard she fought to get this equality. And she gets the back end of that? No, no, I disagree. I definitely disagree. And I feel like if it wasn't for people complaining, and okay, so let's even talk about the blackface situation. She didn't, she, I didn't see it as racism initially when it started. I saw it as art. And Jay said that was masculine. Jay said that was one of the things that made him want to quit the show. And that's kind of another reason probably why Tyra felt like she she felt betrayed and she felt like you were leaving me behind. Like I said, you don't know what they had endured from the network and whatnot. And just because you're super famous doesn't mean that you don't have to still play by certain rules. Okay. Just because you're a millionaire doesn't mean that you have to not listen to certain things and rules because if you go against the grain too much, you won't make another dollar. And you, like I said, you don't know who was relying on her. You just, I mean, you don't, do you? No, you don't. Of course not. So I want to wrap this up, but I just wanted to make sure. And I might have to come back and do this the right way. I might have to actually sit down, do my diligence, and do this the correct way because I want people to understand that look at it from this side, from that side, from here, 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 and here. Because looking at it through this one little angle that somebody put up that, oh, she made them do this. Listen, so we're gonna start having documentaries from all these other reality shows that people had out. You do realize that these girls, like the one woman, oh, my mom was killed with a gunshot wound. They made me do that. So Cam was right there. He knew. He didn't say nothing. He let it go on. Nobody said anything to him because he's a man. He has male privilege. It all went on Tyra. It's all her fault because it's her show. That means because it's her show and her name's on it, America's Next Top Model presented is it presented by Tyra Banks or I think it's America's Next Top Model. It might simply be by Tyra Banks or something like that. So you think everything is her? No, no, no. In order for people to stay tuned and watch, you have to have something for them to lie on. And that's why, they made a mistake and they got rid of the Jays and Nigel do because I feel like I didn't like the change. And I used to watch this with my sister for years, and we didn't like it. We don't know why they changed. And then when they took Tyra off, it was like, okay, now you're what is who? I mean, who watching it now? I mean, that was just stupid. And you don't know what happened behind scenes to make her lose her job. How do you lose your job and you came up with the whole everything? Hmm? Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's going, oh, that's jacked up. Because it really absolutely was. Oh, you're washed up now. Because they love to age women out. It's a thing. They will age you out in Hollywood. So, like I said, sorry to the ladies who were assaulted. As a male, I feel like the other men on set should have stepped up and did something about that. That is something that I don't agree with, you know? And I'm sorry to everybody who feels opposite, you know, genuinely anyway, because I just really want you guys to view this the way I'm viewing it because I'm not saying that she's 110% innocent at all. She did wrong. She owned up to it. She said it. I mean, how many times do you want me to apologize? Do you want me to apologize? I said what I said. You know what I mean? It's what's done is done. Nobody's complaining about the big picture. Okay, like I said, there was a prize attached to the win. So you wanted that $100,000. So you got down on that goddamn on ground with your bullet hole in your head. It didn't obviously it didn't disturb you too much. And now I'm not saying that it didn't disturb you later. It disturbed you. I mean, that's something that's serious. And it should not have gone down. But like I said, these people obliged because they wanted the win. They wanted the win. They wanted the title. They wanted the contract. They wanted the $100,000. They wanted the prize. So they participated. And you, the viewer, you watched, ankles crossed, popcorn in hand. And now all of a sudden, ooh, this is wrong. Looking back, it's wrong. Looking, this is wrong. No, it was other times actually. It was before its time, after its time, and it will live on because it was iconic. And you either can deal with it or you don't have to. But jumping on and pouncing on one person is not cool. No, not at all. She started that thing to break barriers, open doors, show the world something different. She was happy to go to work each morning when she started. Look at Tara Banks when she started top model and look at her now. Look at the stress that's on this lady's face. You can see it. You can see it. It's built in. So I want you to think twice before you just jump on what somebody else is doing. She wanted to come over here, and all of a sudden, you know, it's a thing to jump down Tyra because Tyra's turn. But what happens when it's your turn? Then what? We don't know how to stick together. We just can't seem to get it right. We people, as an American people, period. Before you want to even sub categorize it, we can't get it right as an American. So I want you guys to think twice before you sit up here enjoying the lynch mob because it could very well be you next. And when it's your turn, what are you going to do? Because everyone's jumping on this wagon. There's plenty of room in the wagon. Get off the wagon. Seriously look at what's going on. Get off the wagon. Seriously look at what's going on in your neck of the woods. Look at what's going on out the door, out the bigger picture, because there's a lot of work to be done. And if you're just going to sit up here and focus on what everybody else wants to focus on and everybody wants to be the big bad wolf and say this isn't right, we'll have an issue because it'll be like a mile long. Problems of a mile long, okay? We don't know what's to come. But I will say that I want you to just take the time, like I've been saying, and think, what if it was you that the world wants to pick on? You don't know who she had to support. You don't know what goals she had to cross off. She dove into her career, and now she has to pay for the repercussions of that. And I'm sure it doesn't feel good for a wave that you set out of positive things. And she may even be a mean girl, but that wasn't her goal. She didn't start this to be a bully. She really wanted to make a change, and change she didn't make. And now said change wave is back on her on the opposite end of the stick, and I guarantee you it doesn't feel well. I guarantee you she's not proud of the bad things, but I want her to know that you should be proud of all of what you did because you changed the world. You changed America's view. You had changed the opinion on what's beautiful and what's not. There wasn't large models. Takara went on to do great things after that show. Even Cycle 10's winner, she said that, she I wouldn't have had that job without her. So like I said, it's 40-60 on the hate and love of Tyra and what she did. But I guarantee you, I want you to look at this the way it needs to be looked at because this all could be you. But Tyra, you did your thing, and I respect you. And I think that once it all blows over, because this is like the second time that this is coming up because of the documentary and everything. But she had to go through this back, like she said, during COVID and everything. But I guarantee you, once it blows over and people go, they're gonna look back and say, "Oh, it wasn't that bad. Oh, she did this and she did that," because they're gonna start to say the things that I'm saying now. She didn't open up the door; she blew the wall off. Think twice. Good night.